So today we are going to be talking about how you would clean a player. So this is a sample player. Yours may look slightly different, but this is a model of one of the players that we do offer. So today we're going to go through the steps of removing a player from your current location, how to clean the player, which in turn is going to extend the life of the player. So we'll take a look at those steps now. So we're going to come to this enclosure. I've already opened the enclosure. I've removed the screws from the top and bottom. Yours may have magnets along the bottom, so depending on the type of enclosure you have, just look at that, see the best way to open it. So in this case, it's been prepped to open. So I'm going to go ahead and remove the cover, and I'll set that down here. Now, as you can see inside, you can see all the wiring and internals of the actual setup and device that we have here. But what I'm going to do is, in the bottom right of this enclosure, is the player for this particular sign. So if you notice, similar to the other player, there's a couple connections here. So we have a video connection, which we're going to unplug. We have a power connection, which I'll unplug next. And that is going to power down the player itself. So now I've disconnected it. Your player may have another connection where there is a Cat 5 or Ethernet connection here as well, which you can unplug if necessary. This is a Wi-Fi player, that's why it did not. So what we will do is take the air canister that we have here, and I am going to just apply some short bursts to the player through this vent on one side here, and then at the top, a few short bursts of air within this fan opening, and that will clean out those areas. You can also give a few short bursts through these vents here, just to make sure that any of these connections are cleaned out as well. If your player is very dusty, in this case, we keep up on them, but if your player is dusty, you may notice a large amount of dust coming out. So continue to just lightly do blasts of air until all of that dust is removed from the player. The key thing is you do not want to have this fan obstructed in any way. This is what keeps the player cool, will keep it from being damaged. If there's any obstructions in terms of dirt or dust, that could shorten the lifespan of your player. So to get the maximized potential out of it, this simple process will help keep it healthy for a long time. So what we will do now is I'm going to just basically do the reverse. So now I'm going to reconnect up these connections to the player. So what we'll do first is connect the video connection, and then connect the power connection to the player. And while that is coming up, it'll start powering up on its own. While that's coming up, we are going to reinsert that back into the display. And you'll see now it may go through a couple different screens as it is booting up. It is a computer, so there are going to be screens that will happen. You might see a Windows screen or an XD logo, but those are normal. That's just letting you know the computer is going back to its startup phase. So we'll replace the screen. We're going to give it a moment to see if it comes up, everything is okay. And as a side note, while we're waiting for this to come up, when you're in there and you're removing the player and dusting it, feel free to lightly dust out the enclosure as well. You can just do a few short bursts of air within there just to kind of keep this whole enclosure clean. And we should see a screen coming up in a second. So our content is there and we're back up. So remember, your player may have a similar look to this, like I had taken out of there, and you're just using light puffs of air to clean the dust out of the fan or the vents. That's it. It's a very simple process to make sure you're maximizing the potential of your players and that everything remains healthy for the life of your sign. Thank you very much.